There we go. How do I sound? I sound pretty good.
Keep talking.
Keep talking as I say. How do I sound? Sound pretty good to me. From a sound wise, pardon my voice.
Yeah,
but
it's clear.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome. We are Monday Night Raw on a Tuesday, Sade.
Club going up.
On a Tuesday,
Talk about
bro.
somebody who threw it away, boy. You went from a Drake feature to where? Beverages to the drinkers.
Not for me, not for your boy, but
fair enough.
Appreciate y'all tuning in. Y'all see my voice, or y'all can see. For those that are watching, y'all can hear. For those that are listening, my voice is on its way out.
We got a problem.
We are on our way out for the day. So I got my hot tea. Hopefully y'all can hear me. But
hot tea and Hennessy.
I do have a hot toddy. But we couldn't let the day go by without speaking on it.
Open the doors of the church.
Speaking on it. Michael Penix Jr. has been named the Falcons starting quarterback for the rest of the season, is what I just saw come across my phone, which is the last 3 games. This is surprising, as if you go back and listen to the football segment of episode 171 of the Splashcast that comes out on Thursdays, remember, like, follow, subscribe. Norwood literally said, don't play him. Make Kirk Cousins finish the season.
Yeah. This is something.
Am I at a loss for words?
Because there's so many different things at play here. The first thing is, like, we did pay Kirk a reasonable sum of money to do a job. I don't think that for the money that he was paid, he should have had to do the whole job. Personally, I do think that, and we have to consider, we don't have to consider, I think that we should consider Raheem Morris being a black coach. He has to always deal on a different timeline than everybody else. I think that he, just like I said, you're going to get through this season unscathed. They're not going to fire you. But this is the signal for how you enter next season. I think that no matter what happens, this is like his one reset. You get one time to reset, hit the reset button, cool everything off. And then from there, proceed. Now, if it was me, and I'm surely for him, I think he wished he could have saved his extra man for a little bit later. But Kirk Cousins not playing good for 5 weeks in a row, he had to use his extra man earlier than expected.
I don't like the whole black coach timeline thing for this scenario. I don't like it.
Can I ask, when you say you don't like it, do you mean that you don't think that it exists, or do you just not like it, like the concept of it?
I don't like the application of the concept to this situation.
So do you think that it doesn't exist, or do you think that?
No, I definitely think it exists. I think I think all black people have to work on a sliding scale. But
fair enough.
At the same time, you and your direct report, the person you report to the general manager. You and him made a decision to spend, I can't remember, was it 180?
Yes, 4 years, 180, potential out. We've paid him $40 million, I think, already. So,
right. So $40 million plus the signing bonus was 50, right? Or was the signing bonus 40?
Average salary 45, signing bonus 50 million, guaranteed at signing 90 million Okay, so there it is. Guaranteed and signing. We paid him $90 million day one. Paid. Done. Total guaranteed $100 million. Now, this is confusing to me, and I don't exactly have an answer yet, but I'm gonna tell y'all. If guaranteed and signing means this is what we're gonna pay him, period, no matter what. So there's this other $10 million that we would have to pay him if we were to just part ways and be done with it.
I believe so. So back to the point of the whole black coach moving on a different timeline. Y'all set this up. You went and got Kirk for $100 million essentially, because I guess this is what it's going to play out to.
For sure.
And then you drafted Michael Penix Jr. Hindsight is always 20/20. So when you come back and you look at it, you set yourself up for, unless Kirk Cousins had taken us to the playoffs, to the division title, which was the expectation, and then a deep playoff run, you kind of set yourself up for damned if you do, damned if you don't, regardless. Especially
what you mean?
Kirk Cousins being mid or
he's not even mid.
What I'm saying is the worst case scenario was this. This is the worst case scenario. Then there was, you got a way to float and say, okay, well, we can give Kirk Cousins another year if he were mid, right? Because we're coming off the Achilles. Best case scenario, Kirk Cousins is good for 2 years. We go right to Michael Penix, etc.
Correct.
You got the worst case scenario. You spent all that money and you could have just started Michael Penix and put a better defense out there. You could have addressed a lot more situations. So my point is, with the whole black thing, Tyler, you created this timeline when you did this. When you made those two decisions, you created your own timeline. So that doesn't apply here to me.
The only thing that I think that your argument doesn't give any credence to or any value to is development time. Like, I do think that there's a major difference on starting on in the preseason week -3 versus starting week, what week are we in? 14, 15, whatever it is. I think that he's at least been able to, at this point, to learn how to be a pro, learn how to be in a meeting, and he's had a lot of time to watch up close and get some reps. I think that.
What reps?
I think that
he threw one pass in the preseason, and he's thrown 3 passes.
I'm talking about in practice. I just look at the guys that didn't get any of that, like your Bryces, your Anthony Richardsons, and you're like, you could have used 10 weeks. Like, 10 weeks ain't a lot of time. I mean,
spending $100 million on 10 weeks, it's $10 million a week.
Yeah, but to me, that's more of an investment in your future. You know that Michael Penix Jr. is going to be your future. So
you hope.
Oh, no. If Michael Penix ain't your future, then you don't have a future here. Let me be very clear about that. It ain't no Kirk Cousins, Michael Penix, and then we keep going. Your defense ain't that good. So, yeah, I want to give Michael Penix Jr. the ideal opportunity to transition from where he was to learn the playbook. Now, I will say, Penix, you've had an opportunity to learn the playbook. So you're not learning the playbook when you start playing. You are getting, like, you're just more operating on what you should already know. Now, I don't expect you to be perfect, but you got to know the plays. You know, when you go into something, especially with people's learning curve, like, learning the playbook in itself is its own thing.
I can't get on board, dog. Now, this is $100 million. This is a $10 million a week mess up in any job, in any industry, in any entertainment, any industry where you have $100 million screw up will get you fired. That can get you fired.
It is only a screw up if Michael Penix Jr. doesn't produce. If Michael Penix Jr. comes in and is pretty good to decent, then the cost was worth it, because you knew the only thing that you were really trying to do is have a transition to implement your project. This project, if he is what you believe him to be, then $100 million is a small investment to have a franchise quarterback. And really, it's $100 million in a year that the best thing that you were supposed to do is win the NFC South. So to me, it's a low expectation and a serious investment, but an investment in your future. If Michael Penix takes off from here and he's your franchise quarterback, then you did it right. You didn't expect Kirk to do anything other than win you the NFC South and get put out, right?
You didn't expect Kirk to get paid. You didn't expect Kirk to pay Kirk $100 million and then play 10 weeks. All of that, none of that was the plan. No, there was no plan that Michael Penix Jr. was going to outplay Kirk Cousins and you pay Kirk Cousins $100 million and he was going to pay not even a full year. There was no plan for that. We were talking about Kirk Cousins being replaced by Michael Penix Jr. And what I was saying, the last thing I remember saying was that there is no way that the plan for them was to start Kirk Cousins for 10 games. The worst case scenario is that he started this whole season. No, this is the worst case scenario. The worst thing not the worst case scenario, but the worst thing that could happen that they saw was that Kirk would just play this year. Michael Penix would then take next year.
Well, I can't exactly say that, and I'll tell you why. Worst case scenario is Kirk Cousins is immobile and can't do anything. And that's a risk that you take with a dude coming off an Achilles. So this is not ideal, but this should have gained you some entry time to prepare yourself for phase 2. Now, do I think that we would have liked Kirk to play well and this been part 1 of phase 2, get us to the NFC South, win the NFC South, and then get put out in the first or second round of the playoffs? That would have been ideal. And then we would have run the same thing back again, and then we would have had to have the pseudo tough decision: do we go with in the words of Step Brothers, the young calf or the old bull? I think this decision has been made for us. But
yeah, that's true. We didn't make this decision, Kirk Cousins.
Yeah,
you did.
Yeah, I think that he was given as much rope as possibly given, and I think that Michael Penix Jr. being seasoned as a football player also allows us to think, hey, let's go with this. He had an excellent college career. Kirk has had 5 weeks of piss. Like at this point, even I don't. Yeah, like Kirk, there's nothing that you can say that we've not done right by Kirk. So for me, yeah, we've done everything right by Kirk. We've done good business. We gave you as much opportunity. We put Darnell Mooney around you. We gave you Bijan. We gave you Drake. Kyle Pitts has been less than stellar, but even Werner has done his job. The offensive line has not been great, but you've also not really put the offensive line in the best of situations because you can't move. I think that the offensive line gets a little bit of pressure off of him because you got a guy who can at least buy a little bit of time for himself. And we can go back to like more play action things. So I would have liked to see him do it, but I also understand that we need to win the NFC South, and that requires us winning all 3 games. There's no room for.
I don't.
There's no room. You don't agree with what part?
I think this may be a punt situation. We just outlined in the football segment how the Buccaneers' schedule is boo-boo. And they're already game ahead, and if they win out, and if we both win out, then they go to the playoffs. I think that this is the best game. If you're gonna make the change, you're playing the worst team in the league, and you put them in now, and you let him get the game reps to make it seem like you're gonna get the playoffs. But I think you make this move because you are on the outside looking in versus you're trying to make
This
the
is a
playoffs.
false enthusiasm move. It's like, hey, we're gonna give you this opportunity, and let's see how it plays out. Either, ideally, Michael Penix Jr. plays well. He goes 3-0. Even if we don't end up making it to the playoffs, he starts out 3 games, 3 W's in a row. He feels confident, even if it's just 2-1. He gets 2-1 going into next season. Hey, man, we can build off of that, especially if the offense looks decent. So now Zach Robinson, the ball is in your court now. If you want to come back next season, it is imperative that you pull out every trick that you have. It's time for you to lie to us. It's time for you to be on your best behavior. Hey, I got a second chance. I got a guy who's been here, who I have supposed to have been developing the whole time. It is now my responsibility to get that. I got to make that happen.
Yeah.
I understand your skepticism, though, for sure.
Okay. I done did all the posting. I done responded to everybody looking for the link. All right, I can go back to focusing. I said this is a move where they're on the outside looking in. Yeah, and I agree. Now, what I do want to ask is, what if Michael Penix looks good? Because we haven't seen this offense off schedule, right? We haven't seen Kirk Cousins is a 3-step drop, 5-step drop guy playing his foot to get rid of the ball immediately. We haven't seen a play where we extend the play, where we're able to have the arm strength to drive something down the field on the run. Like Michael Penix Jr. adds a whole different element of escapability to this team, which is wonders for the offensive line. And this is why I said it's a lose-lose situation. Because if he comes out and is good, it's like, well, you made this decision 2 games too late.
I don't. Now this part, and I think that, and Florida has just kind of spoiled me on some of this. Some of it is just, we're not playing for a championship anyway. All we're playing for is never. Okay, in my head, we're never playing for a championship. Raheem was coaching for his job. But the only thing that I'm really concerned about is us identifying our new franchise quarterback. That's it. As long as we do that by the end of the season, I am okay.
So
and now my expectation,
division championship. We had an expectation of division championship 2 weeks ago.
Oh yeah. Now you can, but let me tell you, for me, the only reason now is the expectation is for Raheem Morris to not have pressure on his job. So my personal Norwood timeline and the Raheem Morris timeline, we are not on the same. I'm a lifetime fan. This is my team. I just need Michael Penix to be legit. What I was saying and what I was outlining was, hey, Raheem, if you want life to be simple for you, you win the NFC South. If you don't win the NFC South and you find the right you find the right quarterback for the Falcons, there's a part of me that's looking at Michael McDaniel in Miami, and that's not really working out. I think that Michael McDaniel would.
Yes, good transition, because I could how do we get Kirk Cousins off the books? If we can get him off the books, all of a sudden, we now are in the 49ers position of 3 years ago, where you got Brock Purdy on a rookie contract, and you have this money to build a defense. You can add a safety. You can add a few defensive ends. Few, Terry. Not one.
Correct.
Few. You can replace all the linebackers, except for Caden Ellis. I put Caden Ellis back at end. They finally started doing what we said and just let him run around. Stop trying to make him stay in the zone. No, let him run around. He one of them dudes you just let run around. And
that's what I think he wants to be an edge rusher we haven't been great at getting edge rushers. If we found one, sure, he was supposed to be a linebacker. All right, well, players fuck up. We say that every week, right? So as long as we finally found an edge rusher, and he's not like, he might not be our best, but put him in a rotation, he's perfectly fine. I don't like my coach used to say all the time, show me the baby. I don't really care how we get to where we get to. Show me the baby. That's what I'm here for. And that's what, if we can mistake our way into an edge rusher, I'm happy. If we can identify our future quarterback, I'm happy. Raheem, you and Kirk Cousins are uniquely in the same boat. You've been given every opportunity.
Yes.
If you don't make it to the promised land,
every opportunity is his first year.
We've watched Raheem not make enough of the right decisions. Sorry.
That's a confusing sentence. Yeah, he's made a lot of wrong decisions.
I can't. Yeah, you make too many. Like, it's the same thing. It's the same thing from Arthur Smith. If you make a bunch of bad decisions, I can't get in the way for you. I can't say you're doing him wrong. You made too many bad decisions.
I will say that shout out to Raheem for learning from Arthur Smith. Arthur Smith was dedicated to Mariota and Desmond Ridder and Taylor Heineke for 3 years, and refused to do anything else.
2 years too long.
And we said that's going to get you fired. We also told you, Raheem, hey, if this Kirk Cousins and Terry, if this Kirk Cousins move don't work out, Michael Penix Jr. has to be great, or that's going to get you fired. And you can say, hey, dog, it is what it is. We out here. And what's interesting is the media and the way that they use the media. That was a nice little case study. You saw the breadcrumbs being laid for this to happen from the end of last game to today. You alluded to Raheem Morris not being committal to Kirk Cousins. There was the leak from inside the locker room that said that most of the players believe Michael Penix Jr. is outplaying Kirk Cousins in practice. I said they're not posting any more clips of Michael Penix Jr. in practice. It's only Kirk Cousins making great throws. There's nothing else that you see of Michael Penix Jr. I said that's odd. There was
they set him up. They set him up to change quarterbacks for sure.
Immediately.
It was very clear. Because in Kirktober, you couldn't ask about the same question. Like, now that you kind of brought it up, you got a really good point there. In October, nobody was asking about, are you going to change quarterback? Because Kirk was kicking ass. If you asked somebody that, it would have been agreed. Like, why are you asking that? You're making it weird, bro. Now it's like, are you? Like,
every week, are you? What about now?
Yeah.
What about now?
And that's what I said. I said, say what you want to, but Raheem can say that Kirk is the quarterback all he wants to. If you have to come every week as the coach and say Kirk Cousins is our quarterback, you already beat. You're already behind the 8 ball at that point. You don't really stand a chance.
Here's another point I think also doomed Kirk Cousins. We played the San Diego Superchargers and lost 17-10. He threw a pick 6. He threw 4 interceptions. That exact same team 2 weeks later plays the Buccaneers with 1 receiver and get absolutely stomped. When that happened, I was like, the Bucs' success also doomed Kirk Cousins. Because remember, he threw 5 touchdowns against this Bucs team.
And it's tough because I don't really have a good answer for you, because Todd Bowles is looking. I know Todd Bowles just looking like, boy, whoo.
You think Todd Bowles called Raheem? You think Todd Bowles calls Raheem? Remember, it was on the same coach staff. He called like, hey, dog,
he should have.
You need to go ahead and make that. We ain't got to play no more. You need to go ahead and make that change.
Oh, no. You don't have to call him. Like, you know. And no, don't call me right now. You know, especially if we're friends. Don't call me and tell me what I gotta do when your success is directly influencing my life. Yeah, like, hey, don't call me about my lady when you out here taking your lady all across the world. Y'all done bought all these houses. Don't call me and be like, hey, bro, you gotta be a better man. Bro, you making it tough on me.
No. I'm saying, hey, you need to. He called and was like, hey, Kirk Cousins ain't it. Like black coach to black coach.
I mean that too. You're not wrong. But I don't think Todd Bowles too lucky. Todd Bowles is, if not for Baker Mayfield, Todd Bowles is, yeah. If not for Baker Mayfield, who before was a defensive end for the Panthers and then a throwaway back for the Rams. If not for Baker showing up and being Baker,
I forgot he had that Panthers fire. Oh my God.
Yes. Yeah, like.
Shout out to the new viewers. Make sure y'all like, follow, subscribe. Hit the subscribe button.
What up, though?
Appreciate it.
Yeah, like Baker, but this is the media. You see every week, what do they say about Baker now? Great teammate. Yeah, he was here in the summer and the lineman was in the gym. He's the only guy who came in.
He's been doing that for like 6-7 years. That's always been his thing. Like, he a try hard because that's how he came from.
And that now is he's got like the Jameis image minus the interceptions. Like, God, this guy's really,
it's not minus the interceptions. It's just tough. It's not the minus thing. He's still throwing 15, 20. It's 30.
It's 28 touchdowns and 14 interceptions. You're right. It's just he throwing them tutties to my head.
He throwing them tutties, dog.
And I think that Evans. I mean, I think that he's a quarterback people want to play for. Because hey, if we get drunk and get into a fight, Kirk is gonna fight. I mean, not Kirk. Kirk is gonna call the police. But Baker is gonna. Right, he's gonna be at home with his family crying. But Baker is gonna be the guy to throw the first punch.
Yeah,
and I think that's endearing to his teammates. Like, and I think they found their guy. I think that there is nobody happier than the Tampa Bay Bucks right now. They found their guy, other than the Seattle Seahawks. They found their guy on consignment. Geno cost $25 million. Baker cost $30 million. When all the rest of these quarterbacks cost 40, 50 plus, even us, we spent $90 million on a quarterback. They spent $30 million on a quarterback. Their quarterback's not playing arm.
Oh my God, shut it. So here's the release stipulations on Kirk Cousins' contract. If we release him before March 16th, no post-1 June designation, we still owe him $27 million in fully guaranteed cash with a $65 million dead cap hit in 2025. Release him before March 16th, same cash. But they can spread the dead cap hit over 2 years, 40 in 2025, 25 in 2026. Trade him before June 1. They carry a dead cap hit of $37.5 million, but save $27.5 million in cash and $2.5 million in cap space. If Cousins remains on the Atlanta roster as of March 16th, another $10 million in 2026 will become fully guaranteed. Not impossible, but practically unfathomable, fathomable after the decision today. So you either have a $65 million cap hit, or if you could trade him, you go down to 37.5. To me, the most likely scenario is that you're going to spread that $40 million. I mean, that's $65 million over the 2 years. I don't think anybody's going to trade for Kirk Cousins. I don't think that's going to happen.
You could probably split the difference. You know how well you be like, all right, well, we'll pay this part of the contract and then you can have it. And I think that probably might be attractive.
Who's going to trade for him?
Anybody who's looking for a rookie quarterback who doesn't want to start him on day one, you can literally do the same thing for probably a third of the price that we did with Michael Penix. Let Kirk Cousins play 10 weeks, give you time to implement a playbook and a game plan before your rookie quarterback takes over. Everything is about quarterback development because they're not developing in college. So, yes, give me my own 10 weeks or 14 weeks to figure out how to teach my quarterback how to take over. And Michael Penix is probably the case study for it. I'll pay a third of what the Falcons paid for the same thing now. Sure. I'm not. New York, you need some stability, especially the guy who's going to take over.
What stability is Kirk Cousins? He's thrown 15 interceptions in 5 games.
Now, that's the bad part. That is the bad part about him is
who's signing up for that? Even if you need a quarterback, why would you sign up for him?
Because you could get him for cheap.
To be bad?
Yeah.
You could get other quarterbacks for cheap.
Not starter level quarterbacks.
Theoretically, he's not your starter. He just
no, but he's for me, I'm okay with that. If I'm a team at the bottom,
you take a Kirk Cousins or Jameis Winston.
You know my answer to that. But there's only one Jameis. And Jameis got benched, so Jameis.
Why even if the Falcons pay a third, Jameis is cheaper than Kirk Cousins.
Yeah, but there's only
so why
one
would you
Jameis
not take
too.
Jameis?
Because there's only one team that can get Jameis, but there are going to be multiple teams that get rookie quarterbacks next season.
David Carr or Kirk Cousins?
You're not getting Carr. Carr's not leaving the Saints.
They don't want him. They were 2-8 with him, whatever they were. They've been trying to get rid of him. They fired the coach. He's next. They don't want him.
Look at David Carr's contract too.
I'll let you do that. I'll let you pull that up.
Okay. Hold on. I mean, you're right. They're all in the same kind of ballpark of guys. And then you got to ask yourself, I mean, this is going to be a name that's eventually going to come back around. It's Carson Wentz. Do you want Carson Wentz for 10 weeks at $3 million?
Whoever. All I'm saying is there's more cheaper options for the same or better output than Kirk Cousins has shown.
See, it's tricky for me because October Kirk Cousins was crazy. And then after that, it just went to shit.
So September, he was okay.
Oh, so I mean, well, you'll know on Derek Carr very soon because they have an out. They could get rid of Derek Carr at the end of this season.
Exactly.
This is their out. If they don't, then it's 2027.
Dallas, but they got Dak, so that's not even gonna happen. Jacksonville. Trevor Lawrence is hurt. Kirk Cousins, you got McCorkle Jones down there, and they got him signed. So I don't know if you get. I honestly don't know if you get Kirk Cousins off the books next year. Honestly, I think you don't have an expensive backup.
And maybe you do. I mean, you do your damnedest, and you got to also wait until the season has started and see if somebody's leg falls off, which inevitably always happens, and somebody's desperate. Then it's like, yeah, I'll take Kirk Cousins and see what the Falcons. How much will it cost me to get Kirk Cousins? What will you guys take, and what will I have to pay?
Yeah, you're gonna have to sit him.
Okay,
you have to sit him and make sure, and then play the role of his Achilles is fully healed, and now he can move around the pocket a little bit, and hope that somebody takes the bait. So. And you hope somebody takes the bait on that. But other than that, I don't see a team in this league that would trade.
He's an expensive assistant coach.
I don't see a team trading for Kirk Cousins. I don't see not one team. Unless Aaron Rodgers retires. But why would you go get why would you get him? I guess that's the question. After seeing what he's been this year, why would you go get Kirk Cousins at this price?
No, I'm gonna see how cheap I can get him. But if I'm Atlanta, how much can I? Whatever I don't have to pay for Kirk Cousins is great. So if I got to pay 2/3 of the contract, it's better than 100%, right? I'd rather pay 66% than 100%.
Why would you pay 66% of his contract for what you've seen?
No. I'm saying as the Falcons, maybe I foot 2/3 of the contract and somebody takes him for 1/3 of the money.
Nobody's gonna. Why would you do that? The other team, not the Falcons, the other team. Why would you do that?
I might be willing to take $10 million Kirk Cousins as an insurance policy. Yeah, like when you start looking at quarterbacks, it does get super dicey. It's not that many, but I don't want to drag this forever. In closing, how do you feel about Michael Penix on Sunday?
I don't know. I've seen him throw 4 passes in his career. I have no clue, which is another indictment of this whole situation. I think he's better than a lot of people. I think he's better than Kirk. I thought he was better than Kirk in the preseason, and that's why they wouldn't let him play. Against the Giants is going to be interesting. We're still on pins and needles. We're on the same pins and needles with Michael Penix that we are with Kirk. We don't want him to get hit. His durability is a question because if Michael Penix get hurt, we ain't got nobody. We only have 2 quarterbacks. We may have a third on the practice squad that we may elevate. So I mean, we don't know what we have in Michael Penix.
So what do you want to see this week?
Understanding of the offense. I want to see him be able to make the reads and the progressions. I want to see his in-game adjustments and his learning on the fly. And I want to see him to be able to understand the protections and adjust the protections. If you can set the protection, go through your reads, and adjust on the fly, I'll be satisfied no matter what happens.
2 more questions for you. Is your expectation for him to win this week against the Giants?
Yes, because the Giants suck. But if he loses,
I agree.
I think it would be on whether we win or lose won't be on him unless he throws 4 interceptions.
And what is your expectation of Zach Robinson this week?
0, nothing. I don't expect shit. You need to earn my expectations, Zach Robinson. You need to show me that you can call, that you know how to call plays. And you need to make me think that Kirk Cousins was the one inhibiting you versus you being the problem for Kirk Cousins. Because we see the same issues and the same bullshit-ass plays.
I think that's also the thing that Raheem Morris is trying to do right now is he got to see if I got to fire Zach Robinson by the end of the season. And I think that's smart. That I got to see if Zach Robinson, you can't get this offense to scoring points, then I got to go in a different direction because you're going to get me fired.
It's crazy. You got to do all this and not even finish year 1.
And bring Ryan Nielsen back. I don't care what anybody says. Bring Ryan Nielsen back. Call, beg and call. Call and beg. Can you just come back? Baby, come back. Baby, I'm begging. Baby, I'm begging. I need you back here. You were better here. We were better here. I don't know what Ryan Nielsen did that Jimmy Lake doesn't do. I honestly don't care. But I've seen you with less do more. Please come on back. And you're in a bad situation.
Do we make the playoffs? Yes or no?
Nope. We don't have a way. It requires the Buccaneers, one of the hottest teams in football, to lose a game that they should not lose.
And we're relying on the Saints. We're relying on the Saints.
Yeah.
When it comes down to it, the Saints are going to be, Buccaneers are going to win. The Saints is their last game, right?
But now the Saints, this is what I will say. I want to be very honest. The Bucs have been better than us all season. The Bucks are a better football team than the Falcons. I know that me and you said that the Falcons should win the NFC South. The answer is the Buccaneers should win the NFC South because they're a better team. I know that we won't.
They're a better team. We have the better roster. Now, they are a better team. Kirk Cousins and the way that our offensive coordinators use our players or don't use makes us worse. We have the talent to be better than the Bucks. We have 2 running backs. They got 2 running backs. They have Mike Evans. Right. We have Drake London. They have Iden. We have Kyle Pitts. They have the dude that got hurt. We got Mooney. We are stacked Mooney. Just like them, except for we got Kirk Cousins.
I will tell you that the rubber meets the road for me right there with Cade Otton and Michael Pitts. That's to me the symbolic difference between the Falcons and the Bucks. You got the Bucks who are like Cade Otton. Nobody regards them in the same way that they regard Kyle Pitts. If you said at the beginning of the season Cade Otton and Kyle Pitts, you would 100% say it's got to be Kyle Pitts. Cade Otton just finds a way to be more productive and be a better football player. It's just will and hunger and intensity and aggressiveness and all the things that it takes to be a good football player. But it could just be Kirk sucks for 5 weeks. And he has.
I mean, he's been so bad. Yeah. Well, ladies and gentlemen,
terrible.
There will be more to come on this topic. I'm 1000% sure.